All right, good afternoon and welcome here on the KYCA studios. It is time for another edition of the Mulligan Group, the panel of all knowledge here on KYCA, as we are 1 week away from Election Day. It is that most glorious of holidays, especially after the past 4 years. Jason Zinzilieta with you and the usual panel of experts. By the way, I may be calling for a substitute pretty soon, simply because I'm going to have to step out because of a problem with some companies here in town. So I have to deal with that.
Well, we'll handle it fine.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
So everybody, if you have anything to report on anything that they have to say, if I have to step out, the number is 928-541-1016. I will be taking reports all the way through this time tomorrow. So if you're keeping score at home, as usual, we will have our scores throughout the day. Malcolm will lose, and we will have predictions by the end of the show.
Call BR 345, right?
There, BR 549.
549.
Thank you.
What is this, a ballot count?
No stuffing the ballot box, Malcolm.
All right.
And that's 10 points off for you for suggesting
I thought you already stuffed them.
All right, well, anyway, across the table, let's go around the room today and just introduce ourselves, if you don't mind. See if we can do that in some sort of successfulness. Across from me today in the host chair, because he's going to get to be the substitute if I have to step out, that would be Mr. Bob Roecker,
right.
Bob Show on Tuesday nights. You've got the show next week. Lucky you.
Yeah, we do, and we're just going to play it by ear, and the size of my ears, it's a big deal.
It is.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So, yeah, we'll be on from 4 to 5 unless something happens that we don't know about.
We're not sure what our coverage is going to be. I think we're going to be going with Town Hall and with Salem Radio Network this year for election coverage. But you're going to be coming on the air at 4 p.m., which is going to be 6 p.m. on the East Coast. So polls will not be closing until at least 7, I believe, on the East Coast.
Just before.
Yep. So you can pontificate on anything you wish to.
And 7 o'clock 3 days later.
Well, 3 days. Now, Malcolm, not in unless you're in a swing state. Regular states will have their stuff done that night, but not swing states. Just in case.
That's right. Okay.
All right. So thank you, Bob. Next to Bob, of course, is Mr. Tom Reilly. Thank you for joining us. Also, former Prescott City Councilman.
I learned so much from you guys.
Do you? You show me the list later?
Yeah.
Refresh my memory?
You never said that on council.
Right there, yeah.
That's right. I never said that on council.
All right.
Don Rickles has showed
Okay. You did learn something from Sam Steiger, though.
I did.
Well, I think we all learned something
Oh,
from
yeah.
Sam.
I
Oh,
sure
yeah,
did.
no, Sam was great. Wasn't a day went by when he didn't let me know I was number 1 in his book.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was, Mr. Reilly, you are irrelevant.
Oh, there was that.
Yeah, and
Was
that
that
too.
too?
And then then I became relevant after a while.
All right.
you
Well,
figured him out.
we're glad to have you here despite that. Yeah, so also at the end of the table, at the children's portion of the table, is Malcolm Barrett Jr., Malcolm in the Morning.
I was looking for a phone book to sit on, but all I need is the voter guide, and that would raise me a couple inches.
That would do it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a heck of a guide this year.
Yeah.
My goodness. I got the telephone book, too, when somebody in my household started yelling, the new phone book's here, the new phone book's
Or
here.
Steve Martin. I actually read it.
Wow.
I did,
You and 2 others?
like 4 times, because it was so confusing.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, and finally, I hope you don't mind, I am going to step out now and welcome Phil King,
Oh, thank you, and
Dean of our group.
have a nice trip, Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, Jason.
And the nice voter guide filled with distortions and misinformation on such a scale that I couldn't believe any political institution on the planet was capable of uttering it.
What are you referring to? I mean, distortion. Are you talking about the people who want to who put something up in one way or another, for it, against it, that kind of thing? Is that what you're
I'm
referring
making an allusion to what Cordell Hull said to the Japanese ambassadors on December 7th.
Yeah.
Was it Torah?
How could you miss that?
No.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, gee.
Can't you share that with us, Phil?
So you notice as soon as Jason leaves,
I learned
everything
so
just
much
starts-
from you guys.
No, I need to hear this from Phil.
Cordell Hull's U.S. Secretary of State.
Yes.
The Japanese ambassadors were presenting essentially an ultimatum to him, and they got there late after the Pearl Harbor attack had occurred.
Yes.
And Hall says to them he has never seen a document so filled with falsehoods and distortions that he never thought any government on this planet could utter them.
Okay, well, good for
well
him.
said.
Good for him. I just would have never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
I learned so much from you guys.
All right, let's talk about the latest voter turnout numbers or early ballot returns in
All
Yavapai
right.
County.
Before we do that, though, I want to do a little bit of a helpful thing. If you haven't cast your vote yet, just when you get to the propositions and everything, I thought I would just briefly remind everybody what the numbers mean.
And that's our show.
I'll be real quick. Propositions that have a 100 number on it are constitutional amendments, and any one of those that pass has to get approval of the elected body in that we elect on a state level.
The electorate. Constitutional amendment.
Propositions that have 200 numbers
Which
are
there are
changes to Arizona law.
Aren't any.
There aren't
There aren't any. Proposition 300 are voter-initiated repeals of Arizona law.
Correct.
Suggested repeals. And Proposition 400 are budget issues, bond overrides,
They're
and
local.
local tax issues.
County, city, and town.
There you go. So if you're voting, maybe that'll help you a little bit because the ballot is very long. And
if you haven't gotten it in yet, drive it over and hand deliver it
That was the
because
next
Do
thing I was
not place your ballot in the mail. It's very easy to go through the drive-through at the county building on Fair Street. Sunday afternoon is wonderful, and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
But don't wait till Sunday now.
No.
Go out there at 10 o'clock at night.
So find your ballot, fill it out, get it over to the county. Do not mail it. Take it over to the county building and drop it in the box. It's easy to drop it in the box. It's real convenient. Drive around the thing and you're around the building and you're out.
And wave at the camera.
And
Is it-
Because you're being recorded.
Wave at the camera.
yeah.
Is it an omen that Election Day is right after Halloween?
Well, it always is.
I know. We should change election day
At
to.
least it's not after April Fool's Day.
We need to change election day to April 15th.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, that would be
Always
nice.
suggested that and suggested eliminating withholding of income taxes as well and make everybody
boy.
write that check.
Actually, right. Yeah.
And that would be the last time anybody ever paid it because it would end.
Instead
Totally
of
agree.
people,
I talk about that all the
Yeah.
time.
I
in the
talk
family.
to so many people who anticipate their refund and they treat it like income.
Yeah.
Oh, look at I'm
Yeah.
getting paid.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
You're
You're
getting
getting your
your
money
money
back.
Hey, if you want, give us a call 928-541-1016. We'd love to hear what you're thinking just before election, 1 week away from today.
Yes.
This time next week there'll be all kinds of things going on, I'm sure. October surprises. Anybody feel like there's been one?
Oh, there've
No,
been
it's-
several already.
Well, there have been, but the election is already probably half over. Yavapai County has already received 90,000 ballots out of a total of 175,000 voters.
Okay,
And-
we're going to talk about that. So let's talk
We just
about
did.
that. It's amazing. What percentage is that?
Well, that's
a little bit
About
over
30,
50%.
40%?
yeah, it's only about 52%, but we're on our way heading to
Yeah.
88% turnout. And normally, Yavapai County leads the state, and if not the nation, at least in counties that have over 30 people in them. We anticipated a turnout now of probably, I'm going to guess 88%. Now in 2016 we had 84, 2020 we had 86, and I think we're heading for 88% now.
Good
What-
for us.
Yeah, good for us. What does a huge turnout mean? Is it good for the Republicans or good for the Democrats?
Based on the latest or the registered voter count, it's very good for the Republicans.
In Yavapai County.
In Yavapai,
How
also
about
in the
the
state.
nation? How about in the nation?
I don't have the national figures, but it's
Okay.
good for the state because the Republican majority has grown in the state by 227,000 voters.
Okay. Now, Jason, before he left, before
Over
we got on the
Democrats.
air, mentioned that Kerry Lake has statistically moved a little bit ahead of Gallegos.
Polls are polls. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
What do you guys think of that? About that? 'Cause
Ask
she's
me
been
next.
behind.
Ask me next week.
yeah,
Not
like
next week, but the
like
week-
Thursday or Friday,
after.
Thursday or Friday at the latest,
Well, maybe
or earliest.
Yeah.
maybe people have figured out the Gallego scam that I've been sitting in Congress for 10 years, but now I'm going to fix the border.
It's a new way
Well,
forward.
that's and that whole thing. I mean, that runs the gamut in there. I've been there for so many years. I've like Harris. I've been there for 4 years, but now we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what in the Sam Hill was she doing the whole 4 years?
She caused the problem.
Exactly the question of Gallega.
Wasn't there a theory about that people? That's what people in politics do. They create problems and then they pretend like they're fixing them.
That's Hegel. Hegel was the German philosopher that
Oh, is that
said,
what he's?
create a crisis and then solve it.
Yeah, there you go.
And it centralizes power.
He was
and
Marx's
that's what
buddy,
it's
wasn't
all-
he?
No,
Karl-
that was Engels.
I would love to bring up the late great Sam Steiger
Oh,
when he campaigned on a particular issue, and once elected mayor, he completely 180'd his position. And I asked him about it. He said, "Mr. Barrett, that was the campaign. This is reality."
All right. On that
Didn't
note,
mess a beat.
on that note, let's take our first break. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And thanks for sticking with us. We're here with Phil King, Tom Reilly, Malcolm Barrett Jr., and Bob Roecker talking to you right now. Our phone number is 928-541-1016 if you got a question or like to make a comment. And I'd like to start off with a question that Tom brought up kind of in the break there a little bit, and that is, do you guys think that polls sway the way people are thinking?
Mm-hmm. They can hear that, Phil. Say the word.
I was waiting for someone else to speak up.
Oh, okay.
Without Jason here, we're kind of
No moderator. I personally think that if your candidate is behind in the polls, it motivates you more to get engaged.
Okay.
I think if your candidate is comfortably ahead, it's we got it.
Which could be dangerous.
Yes.
That goes right along with the same kind of thinking that says that, I don't have to get involved in politics and I don't have to get involved with what's going on because I trust the people that I've elected. So therefore, I'm going to let them get involved for me, and I won't do it. And that's just bullhunky.
Thank you.
I agree. I select candidates.
Oh, you agree. You're the one that said,
Yes.
I don't have to get involved because
No,
we got you there to do that.
In voting in general, I select a candidate that I believe has the ability to make an informed decision.
Yes, you
so
do.
I don't have to.
But that does not preclude the fact that you still need to get involved.
Well, you need to vote.
Well, not just vote. You need to get involved
Be informed.
Being not only
Yes.
informed, but you need to be engaged. People need to be engaged, and that's what's happening. I'll give you an example right now. Right now, if you take a look at the comments that are coming in from the public through the internet for the general plan, for Prescott's general plan rewrite, there is a particular political persuasion that seems to be dominating those, because other people say, well, I like the guys that are on there. I don't have to get involved. You need to be engaged. I'm sorry, and if you're not engaged, then you are lazy. Period.
If you want to go on to the general plan, I think it needs more stress on economic development and a little less stress on what would we say?
Social issues.
Social
It needs to
justice
be a
issues.
plan, not
Well,
social.
The reality of this general plan is that you could put anything you want in the general plan.
Yeah.
The only two things in the general plan that have any teeth to them are the land use map,
Correct.
which
Yes.
is not a zoning map, and also the major and minor plan amendment trigger points.
All right.
Tom,
Those are
what
the-
persuasion are you seeing in the general plan, the comments?
Something that leans a little bit further to the left than I might.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot,
well, let's,
a lot
let's
of
talk
the,
about what requires a general plan amendment and why is that important.
Well, what they're talking about are these social issues.
Well,
and
what
social
constitutes-
engineering
Well,
and stuff,
basically,
but
a major.
But that's not what the plan is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, to Malcolm's point, a major amendment to the plan means that if I want to make a major amendment plan with the development that I'm proposing, that I'm going to have to jump through a lot more hoops in order to
Correct.
be able to get my development through. A minor amendment simply means that it can be handled in the normal way and the normal pattern that you would want to do for zoning changes.
So
and
what
such.
is the existing trigger point versus the proposed trigger point?
The existing trigger point right now is, I think, 600 acres or 40 acres or something. It's huge. It's huge, and it's never been used because it's been huge.
Right.
But right now they're looking at a sliding scale, and that sliding scale says, if you have X number of acres of commercial, or residential, low density residential, and you want to turn that into high density residential or high density commercial, then that's going to trigger a plan. But if you want to go from low density residential to moderate density residential, that may not trigger a major amendment.
Yeah. Isn't there an acreage requirement?
There is an acreage requirement, and it's again a change. I don't have that memorized, but it goes from 20 acres down to 5 acres.
And that's what I remember. They're thinking if you want to do an infill development on a 5-acre parcel, that constitutes a major plan amendment, which is silly because I know areas right here
No,
in downtown.
It does not. That's not a correct statement. That's what some people have tried to do.
Okay, but
But
they
they-
haven't achieved it.
No, they have not.
Well, how about a single lot that is surrounded by, say, multifamily on 3 sides, and they've got commercial on one side? Would you think that was rational? That would be a minor general plan amendment to
And
rezone it?
typically those kinds of things are.
And they should be.
Yeah,
That should
and
be a
they
staff
should be.
decision.
But getting back to the point, the point that I was making, I don't want to talk about the general plan, although
That's good because our listeners are all falling asleep.
Yeah.
yeah, no, but I do. Well, here's the thing. I mean, the listeners that are out
you?
there right now are the people who are not engaging.
Yeah.
All of you out there that are listening to this right now, I don't think, from people that I know who listen to KYCA, I have not seen one comment on the general plan.
Yeah.
You-
Well, let's kind of continue with the general plan a little bit, but let me ask you a question. The structure of our tax in the city of Prescott, does it support activities and things that are involved in the general plan, Phil?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
asking-
Bob.
I'm asking-
The
we were
tax
talking-
structure of the city.
Yeah, we were talking
Sales
about
tax
sales
driven?
tax. Yes, specifically, yes.
So
does that support
The general plan should focus on creating more opportunities for retail and for business growth because that's what pays the tax.
Well, do you remember when we went through the Whipple Street connector? It was all residential. When we bypassed before,
Oh yeah.
when we built the bridge and the new straight cut across, all of a sudden it created a commercial, a corridor all the way down Whipple
Yeah,
that was no longer conducive to residential frontage.
yes,
And has
true,
has developed over the years
And
is one of the big economic areas of the city.
There was a rezoning attempt that was successful to allow those people to rezone their property and sell it as more of a commercial
Right,
use.
right.
And I think that's what the general plan should compensate for, because if we've got changing land use due to traffic or new roads, there should be a mechanism to allow that to be used and rezoned to areas that give the opportunity to generate sales tax for the general fund.
And is that in the plan somewhere? Or is that
That specifically is not in the plan, but the things that are in the plan are, transportation corridors, relationship to SIMPO, and what SIMPO's doing, support for SIMPO, support for certain kinds of development, mostly in the land uses that are already set out there, that are already zoned. Some have changed quite a little bit here and there. But for the most part, though, that is kind of what the general plan generally does. Does not do it.
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking, it does. It's a 30,000 foot level view of things.
Yeah.
But the point, the thing that is probably the most important thing, again, in my opinion, right now about the general plan is that people are not engaging it. You're going to have to vote on it. You should know a little bit more about it and go from there.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to know about it and if you're not going to do anything, then don't complain.
Well, and that was my comment, is that I think it's not focused enough on economic growth, economic and business development in the city, and that's what we need.
Well, I would agree with that. I think that, the city right now, the city has historically, at least over the last 35, 40 years that I've been involved, has relied on sales tax as being its principal source of income.
yeah.
Not its only one, but
Absolutely.
its principal.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
are most cities in Arizona
Yeah.
because of the limited property taxes.
Right. We can't do property taxes the way, you'd really like to back
Texas.
east. Well, the thing is that if you're going to do that, then why are the mayor and council in this city, as well as the administration in this city, not paying attention? We have lost several major projects.
Yes.
Everybody touts, tourism. Yeah, but throw all kinds of administrative roadblocks in the way of a hotel getting in
yes,
by
it's-
Aspire
And
Sports.
it's the results of the anti-growth.
Faction. They want to run this city like an HOA,
They're not-
a
they're-
homeowners
and that
Yeah,
would-
association.
they
that
want
would-
the city council to
And
be
they
a
want
giant
our
HOA.
exclusive-
Yes.
We want our exclusive high-end residential development where nobody else can afford to live here other than the retirees that bring a pot of money with them.
and that would invite the audience who is listening to the show or watching the show on this podcast to give us a call and tell us or ask us or make a comment, I should say, about, are you comfortable with the direction the city's going? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, and I'd like to hear some. I'd
Exclusive.
like to hear
I would
some of
love-
that
we would love
because
to
the
hear. So
yeah.
we got about 20 seconds to the bottom of the hour.
economic expansion is not the same thing as population growth, and what we need
there you
is
go.
more business
And when we come-
opportunities and that.
Yeah, and when we come back, we've got a button that Phil's wearing that'll amaze you. So stick with us. We'll be right back after the hard break at the bottom of the hour, and stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Mulligan Group. We're talking to Phil King, Tom Reilly, Malcolm Barrett, and Bob Roecker, the guy who's talking to you right now. And we were talking about tax and everything. But before we get to that, and so we don't forget, you have a button on that I think the public will find very, very interesting. And I want you to talk about it real briefly.
I have a 1984 campaign button from out of my collection, and it reads, Reagan, let's make America great again. Long before it was a pejorative.
And that was the 1984?
1984 when he carried 49 states.
Yeah, except for Minnesota.
Except for Minnesota.
Yes.
Anyway, I just found that really fascinating
That's why
when
I
Phil
got
came in, and I wanted the
That's
public
why
to.
I've got it on.
Yeah, that's
Just,
amazing.
Nothing new under the sun, and it wasn't a bad word in 1984. It shouldn't be a bad word now, 40 years later.
Yeah, it sure doesn't makes no sense. Made no sense. Yeah, to call it a negative. Yeah. Okay, we're back to this problem as far as what the council's promoting, what the council's doing versus what needs to be done to make sure we have enough sales tax coming into our community. And we were talking about a hotel that was going to be built up by in the
Aspire Sports, where the old
Sears parking lot.
Yep, the old Sears parking lot.
And it's a great idea. I mean, people sit around town. Tourism is great. They're going to pay even the people that are promoting this silly sales tax increase right now.
Right.
This poorly worded sales tax increase right now.
Yes.
And it's not silly. It's the police and fire are very, very important, but not this way
Basic
it's written.
service.
Well, because the way it's written, it doesn't say police and fire.
Right, it doesn't. And there was a hotel that had come through the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I believe it was also approved by the Prescott City Council. So they did the right thing there. But there are all kinds of administrative roadblocks that come into play. They got to go through this committee, then that committee, then this committee, then that committee. And the people who were putting up the hotel just said, sorry, this is crazy. Prescott Valley's going to have it done for us in 2 months.
Sure.
And they said, well, but we still have this committee and that committee and this committee. And they just said, bye. They're going vertical in Prescott Valley.
They're
now.
already building vertical in less time than they got with the city of Prescott regulatory authorities, and they're already building.
Well, and the same thing happened with the creation of the mall and the Harkins Theaters.
Sure.
We lost Harkins Theaters
We lost
because of the
Harkins
delay.
Theaters because a citizens group went out and referendumed the zoning
rezoning.
change from industrial to commercial, so the mall could be built.
Well, and
That
you're
lost.
right.
That-
We should have had a
the
cement
public
plant
said no.
there.
We
That
want
would
the
have
Well,
made-
the public said no, and if that's what the public says, then that's the way it goes. My point here is not so much that things can go to referendum; they should always be able to do that. But I think the point is that I think that our council is making some good decisions, but they are not delving into the kinds of things and making the policy that they want the system to be a little bit smoother for those people to come into town who want to build something that will generate the sales tax that we're going to need in order to pay for police and fire.
Sure.
All right, I need the red tape. How do we solve the red tape problem? Obviously, we're talking about
It's an attitudinal bureaucratic problem. City councils have gone back and forth on this over the last
can council
40
fix it?
years.
Can council fix it? Or
Council manager can fix it. Yeah, the planning department needs to understand that it's there to help people solve problems, not to read them the rule book and say you can't do this.
I will say one thing. I'm very much involved with the planning department in the city of Prescott, and they're good people. They know what they're doing, and they're doing the things that they are being mandated to do. And that's the things that they do, and that's them. And I really don't think it's the planning department or the building department that are really holding things up. And I'm not sure, but there's also public works that you have to go through. There are water committees that you have to go through. There's just so many different roadblocks that get in the way. Let's streamline the decision-making process. Get out there. If you're serious about sales tax being your primary source of income, take care of it.
And of course, that's before we jack impact fees, both for residential and commercial development.
Well, that's a joke.
Yes.
You know, you're going to. It's just this flat out joke. You know, you raise impact fees, and who's going to pay those impact fees? The developers?
No.
No way.
And yet you've got city council members saying it won't hurt anybody because the developers will
It
be
won't
paying
hurt
it.
the home buyers. The developers pay it.
Well, of course.
No.
No.
It gets
How
passed
come
right
they
around.
don't know this?
And there are also
Because they're
two
not the brightest and the best.
Yeah.
two U.S. Supreme Court cases on the very topic saying that there must be an actual nexus of cost
Sure.
between the impact fee and the actual
Sure.
damage
And that's not new.
that the
That's-
problem does.
Yeah.
That's the Supreme Court. And you show me where there's $19,000 per house damage done to anything.
Or
Okay,
cost
well,
increase.
when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on as far as the state elections go. So stick with us. We'll be right And thanks for sticking with us. We're back here on the Mulligan Group, and we're still with Phil, Tom, Malcolm, and Bob, the person talking to you right now. And we're going to talk about the state elections a little bit. And let's start with the state Senate thing first.
Well, and you just had the poll numbers there. The new
Did we
poll
talk about that
numbers.
on the air?
Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't we?
okay.
Didn't
So
we?
I don't
Yeah, we
remember
did.
what we.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so
tell you what I did this for our state senator.
yeah.
I wrote in Ken Bennett.
Oh,
So did my wife.
oh, wow.
I've
You know
heard that
what?
from a
You
number of
just
other
delayed the
people.
ballot counting procedure because
Yeah.
any write-in, it kicks them out. They have to hand count the ballot.
Well, so
Don't do that.
So
And
So-
vote,
What made you
I
feel
vote the way I vote the way I feel.
Except the vote doesn't count even if he got 10,000 of them
No.
because he's not an
He's-
official.
He's not a qualified write-in candidate,
right.
and he lost in the
do
primary.
we see any major upsets going on anywhere in the state?
Yeah, there's a
Anything?
couple. There's a couple of them downstate. There's a Senate seat that's probably going to flip from Republican to Democrat, and looks like one House seat also, which would tie the
Well, yeah,
tie
it's
the
so
numbers.
close now. Yeah.
Yeah. There's only a one vote majority in either house,
Right.
so
well,
you flip some seats, and then little Katie
well,
gets
let's
her
look at
way.
our primary winner for state senate,
Yeah.
Mark Fincham, and
Right.
the only thing he's proved adept at doing is electing Democrats when he gets to the general. Now, I don't think that's going to happen here in Yavapai County. There's enough party line voters where I don't think it's going to happen. It has happened before in the past with the state legislator,
Oh, yeah.
who was elected and was just nuttier than a loon, And
Which one?
No, we've had
Barbara
a cou-
Brewster.
Yeah, we've had a
Barbara
couple of
Brewster,
them around
yeah.
here.
And for the first
There's a
time
few
in
others.
decades, we elected a Democrat for the state house
Yeah.
in Henry Cameron.
One
Is-
term.
One term.
It-
And Lucy Mason defeated him in the next election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a bigger general question. Is Arizona permanently purple?
And getting more so.
Well,
Probably.
Immigration.
It's fading
And
blue.
not illegal immigration.
Well, the reason I'm at
immigration from California.
I grew up in Tucson. Tucson is a Democrat stronghold
Always
in the state
was.
of Arizona.
Pima County.
Mo
yeah.
Udall was our representative
Right.
as long as I could remember, and
Well,
everybody loved him down there.
Yeah.
The whole state was Democratic back in those days.
Except
Back
for
in the early 60s, we started as overwhelmingly Republican when we got statehood. But it shifted to Democratic, and the Democrats of 50 years ago are not the Democrats of today. The Democrats
well,
of
that's
today
true enough. Yeah.
have
Yeah.
turned progressive. Barry Goldwater
Yeah,
was a
of course.
Democrat.
Oh, he was really.
Yes, he was.
No,
Wow.
Morris was.
So was Barry Goldwater.
Barry was elected as a Republican
He
to
was.
the U.S. Senate in 1952, Malcolm. I was here, you weren't.
Oh, 1952.
Yes, 1952.
So did you vote when you were 3 years old?
Yeah, 4 years old. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'm getting that we are going to be purple for the
No,
foreseeable
it's
future.
going, yeah.
Or we're shifting. Are we shifting, drifting toward red?
Well, look at we have
We got two senators that are.
We
shifting towards
elected-
blue.
we elected.
What did I say? Blue. Thank
yeah,
you.
we
I'm in the
elected
wrong-
Kirsten Sinema for gosh knows why.
Yeah.
We elected Mark Kelly
Yeah.
for gosh knows why.
Yeah.
The most anti-gun senator in the Congress.
Who spends
And-
90% of
we
his
got a
time when
Democrat
he's not in
governor.
Washington in his home in Houston.
We're actually blue now.
No,
Yeah,
we're not.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
close.
the governor's office,
Well,
the
with
attorney
elected
general's,
officials,
the
yes.
state, the secretary of state's office, all in.
But how does that happen
Democrat
with
hands.
a strong Republican majority in the state electing Democrats?
Because they split their ballots.
No, because the far right elects far right candidates who lose in the general.
Oh. Okay,
Democrats,
well, there
and
you
I'll
are.
use Bill
Well, that's
Bill
true.
Clinton as an example. You campaign from the middle and govern from whatever persuasion you are.
Yeah.
And that's what the Democrats are doing now. They're campaigning from the middle, and we all know they're going to govern from the left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because they always do.
But we're just the opposite. We go
The
extreme right, and
the-
it scares the heck out of
it's
people.
it's almost funny if it weren't so sad to watch some of the Democrat candidates running on securing the border when, like Gallego, they've been in Congress for 10 years doing exactly the opposite.
and I love-
Harris doing exactly the opposite, but she comes down and says, I'll secure the border.
And I love the fact that he was a Marine. I have a grandson who was a Marine, but
Hooray.
it's now. You know, he's not a Marine now.
He was a Marine reservist, served 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Well, he only got to Arizona because the John Kerry campaign hired his wife in
Correct.
2004 and moved her out here, and he came with her.
Okay,
Right.
we've got it.
So
we've got,
I got to ask a question though.
Okay.
You guys are going back and forth on stuff, and Phil is always great for a history lesson because he knows it better than any of us sitting here, and I mean that sincerely. One of the things, the ballot measures that was on there from the state, because we're talking about, great state of Maricopa, this guy, that guy.
Sure.
There was a ballot measure on there about things getting put on the ballot statewide. That was, you had to have a certain percentage
From
from,
From
every
each county.
district.
For citizen
Yeah.
initiatives, you have
Yeah.
to have a.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a good one
I'm all for it.
because it allows what they used to call in Arizona the out counties, which was everybody but Pima and Maricopa.
Right.
To have a say in these citizens initiatives. What happens is we get out of state interests coming in here.
Hiring
Passing.
signature collectors, standing on a downtown Phoenix street corner,
Yeah,
and not having any input on the signature petition from the outlying counties.
correct. and this would force them to have
Good.
a proportional number from
good.
every county.
Each county based
Voted right.
on population.
No, it's a
Based-
good one. But I'll
Well,
tell you
let's
what,
talk about the two opposing.
the most dangerous thing on the ballot is 140.
Yes.
Proposition 140,
Which says,
which is the
Jungle
jungle
primaries.
primaries.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Allows
I know.
allows
well, it would only be fair, Phil.
But compare
allows
that to 133, which mandates primary elections.
Primary elections are for the party
For the
adherents
party.
to pick their candidates, which you have a problem with, but
Why do I
nonetheless,
have?
that's
Why do
what
I have
the,
a problem with
That's
that?
what the primary election is for. It's not for unaligned voters to pick the party's candidates.
Correct.
How many more breaks we have to take? And
One
just
more.
one?
Yeah.
Can we do it now? Let's go
Oh.
ahead and take it now because I want to ask all you guys how you feel when Kamala speaks. I want to know what your thoughts are. So, hang with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here with Phil, Tom, Malcolm, and myself, Bob. And let's finish up real quick on that 140
On
thing during
140,
the break, so everybody understands.
Yeah, the real issue with 140 is the jungle primary aspect of it. What that does is by allowing independents, non-aligned people to vote in the primaries, then what happens after the votes are counted is the top two vote getters,
Regardless of party.
regardless of party, end up on the general election ballot.
And like you said, Malcolm, that could be
One
bad
party
either.
rule, either party is a bad idea.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened in California. That's what happened in Alaska.
Right.
The two candidates were always from the
Same
same
party.
which is why Alaska is trying to undo it this year.
Well,
They've
let's
had
look
it
at 133, the very first proposition on the ballot
Right.
that requires
partisan-
party-based primary. So what if they both pass?
Yeah,
So,
we're going to find out.
all right, I got to go with my, what do you think of Kamala?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, what do I think of Kamala? I mean, you'd see all kinds of public speakers addressing the crowd.
Yes.
Kamala is incapable of moving her lips with a sound coming out unless she's doing this.
Oh.
So every time she's doing this, that means baloney. And then when she gets really passionate and starts with both hands, that's double baloney.
Why does she yell all
Yes.
the time?
Yes.
Is that showing passion
It's
or
passion
emphasis?
and power,
or-
and remember, watch
strength.
the hands. Watch the hands.
And there's
Well, look
there's nothing coming out.
Well,
She's vacuous.
She's shoveling baloney with her hands.
Well, who else does that all the time?
It depends on what the motion is. Is it like this?
Well, Donald Trump constantly is doing this.
He's
and
he's it's a together thing.
Well,
I
we
don't
all do
care.
it.
I could care less how they move their
We all
hands.
do it right here.
I think you
We
hit it right
do.
on the nose. You know, when Kamala Harris speaks, I just get the feeling nobody's home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, when my wife has the remote, when she speaks, it's muted. So all I can see is the hand movements.
is the cackle, the laugh, a protection thing? Is it a protection?
Yeah.
She's stepping back because she doesn't know.
She doesn't know what to say, so she laughs, and it
Well, she likes laughing. at
comes out
herself.
like the Wizard of Oz. You know.
Come on, guys.
What?
Look,
That?
you know, yeah, this is
I know,
it's
these
getting
are-
a little
does it-
catty.
It's
I-
ad,
it does-
hom-
it-
it's
it
ad
is.
hominem, but look
Yeah.
at the millions of dollars of ad
Does it-
hominem ads that they're running all
Does
day.
it matter?
and
Let's move to
Pick an
related
issue.
but different stuff. Does it matter that
Billions.
the Democrat Party did what they did and put her in place versus running a quick mini something?
They make their
mini
own rules.
primary.
It's consistent. It's consistent with the way that party has operated over the past several years. It's consistent with the way that they view governing, and I think that is what people need to be looking at. When you have a view of governing, say we know how to govern, you just listen, we'll take care of it for you. You know, then that's just flat out wrong. And what they did was wrong. And I think that, you know, it's again, it shows us, all of us, what they really feel about how they should be governing.
Well, it's a difference between the two parties, and the Democrat Party is governed from top down. You toe the line, or they will get you out of office.
yeah.
They will oppose you. Republican Party is bottom up.
Well, they picked
And
their-
any registered Republican who has the wherewithal to run is entitled to run in the primaries without interference.
yeah, and the Democrats do it. in
They do it
different
just the
ways.
opposite.
They pick the candidates. That's why there's never really contested primaries
Right.
for the
Very-
Democrat
very
seats.
few.
There was one this year down in East Valley area,
Right.
Mesa, wherever
What
it
will,
was.
what will history say about this election? What will we think?
Depends on
20
how it turns
years
out.
from now?
Yeah.
Is that the voters voted to make America great again?
Okay.
Well, it,
And what,
like,
what history's going to say is that once again, in this particular time frame in 2024, the people of the United States of America did not have a clear leader to run for any office, any major office in that area. And we've had that same situation many times throughout our history. 235 whatever it is years. We've had the same thing where we've not had somebody who has had the a clear leadership ability to be able to step up. Very few have been able to do that. You know, I mean, Ronald Reagan was clearly a choice there. Some people say that Obama was somebody who had the leadership capability, and he did well for his party. Reagan,
On social issues.
well, yeah, but the thing is,
well,
Some
that's-
social issues.
that's their issues.
but you know, we just don't have any strong leadership out there, and the reason
Well-
we don't have strong leadership out there is because who in the Sam Hill would want to run and get all the kinds of slings and arrows
And
thrown
subject yourself to that kind
and
of
we
charisma.
see that from top to bottom.
I've got a solution for it. Like Canada. I think they have 90 days to campaign,
Yeah.
start to finish.
Well, we
you
used-
cannot campaign prior to 90 days before the primary
We
or
used
the
to-
election.
We used to do it here. It was traditional that the campaigns didn't start till Labor Day
Right.
of the election year.
But there was
not
no
Is
law
it
3
for
years
that.
possible
earlier.
to actually create a situation where that could actually happen?
Well,
it would
it's like term
require,
limits.
We
we talk about term limits all the time.
It would
and nothing
take the
ever happens.
elected officials to pass the
To-
law to make
on
it
the-
happen, and
You're
they're
right.
not very interested in that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, I'm going to limit myself and these guys with these massive campaign chests.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My term limit thing is real simple. My plan is real simple. 12 years total. That's
No,
it.
I agree.
Three. You
Yeah.
could run
That's-
one in the Senate, and 3 in the House, or 6 in the
No,
House.
that would be
and you
six-
could never run for Senate. You're done.
Right. 12-year total.
except for if you choose to run for president or vice president after that, you could do that.
Well, we have
So-
term limits in Arizona in the legislature, and look what happens.
Yeah, they just jump to another office. They
Correct.
move to another district.
And then
Yeah.
back, and then or
Correct.
move to a district where you can win a primary to get on
They
the
go
ballot.
from representative
Okay.
to Senate, from Senate back to representative.
Yeah.
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 Okay, we got a minute and a half left, guys. I know, Tom, you don't like to do this, but tell
have a
me
clue.
who you think is going to win. And
I don't know.
well, I know you don't know. But that's what a prediction is. It's kind of a guess, but you got a lot of knowledge in there. So give us a guess at who you think's going to win the president of the United States 1 week from today. Well, theoretically, 1 week.
Well,
from
we
When
won't-
the votes are
Arizona
agreed on.
says we
Got
won't
it.
know account for 10 to 14
yeah,
days.
well.
Well,
It's
out of
Maricopa.
300 million people in the United States of America, I would say it's one of the two people that are running.
Oh.
Okay, never
Okay.
mind.
I'm gonna predict Trump loses the popular vote, but
Well,
wins the electoral college comfortably.
Okay,
yeah, he
that's
of
a
course,
good.
he of course loses the popular vote. No
Yes.
Republican candidate will ever win
Never.
the popular vote again because of where
4 cities.
where the Ducks live. So this will either be one last chance for the government of a republic, or it will be the last contested election in the United States.
It will be an autocracy.
Should this one go that
And
way?
I think Trump's going to win, and he'll probably win for it with at least 290 or more.
and
electoral
I've
college
said all
good.
along the
All
Democrat
right, that's it, folks. We're done. Thank
wins.
you for watching and
You
listening.
know, I just
We'll
don't